Everybody, and welcome to another setup session here at Coach Dave Academy. Today, we will be starting off with the Aston Martin. We've already done a few setups this week, and we're on to racing a few of them this week. When you're watching this, you'll have more setups that you can access. But we're here at Misano. Today, driving will be Luca. I'm Sai. We've got Mike taking care of broadcast as usual, and it's going to be quite interesting. It's actually quite we've got quite a few baselines from some other relatively flat tracks, just like Misano. So um, let's see. This might be more of just some fine tuning, but we'll have to see. So, Luca, shall we jump straight into it?
Yep, just 1 second, please. Getting everything loaded up. All right, let's go.
Yeah, check in the replay. Car is not bottoming out anywhere.
Feels nice and easy over curves. One thing that stands out to me initially is a bit of understeer mid corner. It feels a bit lazy.
Okay. How's the entry stability?
Sorry?
Entry stability into corners. So, does it feel safe?
It feels safe, yeah. Just there's a it bites well on turn in, but then kind of washes out on the front.
Yep.
And kind of comes back on throttle.
Yeah, it's almost definitely because of the low bump stop range in the front. Yeah, so if we're starting off with this baseline, then we probably tweak that. I mean, it's going to be quite similar with the Silverstone baseline as well.
So we just move on from this one. Don't even try the other baseline.
We could try that. The only thing with Silverstone is we've optimized it especially so that it's stable through corks and basically all the fast corners. So we might not actually need that level of stability around here.
Alright.
But yeah, it's worth trying that as well.
Okay. So just give it a couple laps on the other one, see how it goes.
I have a feeling this one's gonna understeer even more. Just
most likely, yeah.
yeah.
Where's the shot?
Yep. I feel like this is probably one of those tracks where we have to go really high on the rear ride height and then get it mechanically soft on the rear.
Immediately feel a bit more understeer.
Yep. Yeah, I think with you take the old the previous baseline and then like increase the front range a bit, then stiffen up the bump stop rate. It's gonna help it bite a lot better mid corner.
While I agree with that, I feel like I noticed something else in the setup though. Because we set it up to be a bit more stable on entry, the washout mid corner isn't as I guess pronounced.
Okay.
So it just kind of holds its line. It may not be as aggressive as it could be, like on the rotation, but just doesn't feel like it's washing out as bad.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, then we could continue with this because it's probably going to head. Like if we had started with the other one, my idea was to kind of headed in this direction as well, then this obviously looks a lot better on the tires. So you say this is not aggressive enough, right? We can try to get this to rotate more.
Yeah, I reckon it could use more rotation, but the mid turn like washout on the front isn't as bad, probably because of the more stable entry.
Okay, yep. How about direction change? You need more response to the first sector?
I'll be honest, I didn't think too much about it, so it's not too bad if I didn't think of it yet.
Yeah, that's good, yeah. It's just such a stable car, so...
It is, it's very easy to drive.
So, actually that makes fine-tuning even more of a challenge, because you really have to search for the problems, if any. Yeah, I think we've got the rear in a good ballpark right now because of the other two tracks we worked on. But if we were starting, I'm presuming with the previous Aston setup, we would have to spend quite a bit of time getting the traction right, because that's always a problem with this car, like mid slow speed.
Might feel a bit lazy, but I wouldn't reckon if any changes, then very minor, just to make it a bit more responsive.
I think it's worth trying. We'll keep the springs soft, but it's worth trying very stiff arms just to get the response. Then the springs will take care of all the other minor undulations on the track.
Sounds good. Let's finish this lap.
Yep.
Alright. Let me get my pressure sorted real quick.
Yep.
There we go. Alright, we were talking about anti-roll bars, yeah?
Yeah, let's go 1 up on the front.
Okay.
2 up on the rear.
So 6 and 8.
Yep.
Okay.
Front range, let's go up 5 clicks.
Bump stop range.
Bump stop range, yeah. So 5 clicks
so
up and
6.
Yep. And a click up on the rear right height.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see what that does. Might be a bit aggressive. Let's see.
Seems like it, but I mean, worth trying.
Yep. So you want to target 34.2.
Might be just a bit too much rotation coming off the brakes now.
Okay. How's the mid and exit rotation now?
I reckon it's better, but it's a bit hard to tell because on entry it now kind of tries to over-rotate a bit.
Yep.
So I'm not sure if it's just the after effect of that it seems to struggle for grip mid-corner, or is it actually an issue, like just mid-corner onwards?
Maybe instead of the front range, we can try a lower diff, but we'll keep the ride height as it is.
Okay.
It's another combo we could try.
I'll do one more lap just to be sure.
Yep. Also got to remember the Aston takes a couple of laps to get into the
I mean, it's not bad, but even with the tires warmed up, I reckon it's just a little bit too eager on entry to rotate.
Yeah.
Like I had to hesitate a couple times turning in.
Yeah.
But the time's there, so.
Yeah.
It is fast and easy, regardless.
Like in terms of the types of corners, this track feels a bit more indie like as opposed to Silverstone. And for Indy, I think we ran slightly lower diff, so
Okay.
I think we just double check. We did something with the diff and the bump stop. I remember so to double check what it was. I believe more bump stop rate on the rear, but lower diff. That gave the rotation. So I will go back to the original bump stop. I've sent you a thing on Discord as well. Uh,
Okay.
uh, just try that as well. So let's try 5 clicks down on the front bump stop range,
Okay.
and then uh, let's reduce rear range as well. I mean, don't see why we need to run that much. Try 5 clicks down on the rear range.
5 clicks lower.
On the rear range,
Okay.
and then yeah, diff is quite high, so let's drop that by 30 Newton meter.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see what that does. Did the ARB help in direction change?
Yes, it did. Yes.
Okay. Definitely looks quite relaxing to drive this.
Compared to some of the other things we did, yeah, absolutely.
Not sure if let me check the lap time, see how competitive this is. Aston usually is around Misano. The Porsche is at 33.6.
Porsche is kind of known to be a league of its own.
The Merc is also 33.6.
Okay, never mind. I had my hopes.
Honda 33.7 and Audi 33.8. So I think, I mean, but the previous lap was 34.3. I'm pretty sure it's more in that. So
Oh, absolutely, yeah, but that's still quite a gap. Can you check, is the car bottoming out? Especially on that corner.
yep. So
I thought I heard something strange earlier already, but it felt fine. Now it just kind of went off as if it actually bounced off the floor.
yep. This is the hairpin, right, on the back straight.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, it's almost scraping it. Just missing it.
It's okay, I suppose. It feels like it is hitting it slightly though. Like, I mean, the sound's coming through as if it's scraping the floor, but I also feel it in the wheel now.
Okay, yep. Yeah, it's very close to ground, so if you want, we can raise the front right height one click and then also the rear, or we could stiffen up the rear end.
I reckon we...
Or soften the front.
Yep. Or that. I don't think I'd go higher on the rear.
Yeah, so ride height up on the front and then reduce the spring rate.
Just try that.
It's gonna lose a bit of response though, so...
I think it's worth a shot.
Yep. One up front ride height, one down wheel rate. Yeah, we'll see that, and if you're still feeling something bottoming out, it wouldn't be the car itself, it'll just be hitting the bump stop too hard, so we can adjust that. Yeah. But let's see how it handles first.
Real quick, wheel right on front or back?
On the front. Okay. So we go down and then raise the front ride height.
Yep.
Still very close, but I don't think it's hitting anymore. Are you feeling it?
Well, so far it seems okay. We'll see. A bit odd there, I don't know why. Like it just feels very different to what it was, but it doesn't really, like it just doesn't quite add up in my head because we didn't change that many things. If anything, should be more stable there.
Could also be the arm change because seems like they started after that. Which means That
I
wouldn't make
think.
sense either, actually.
Wait, didn't we ran high arbs and also the bump stop was on the front before, right?
Yeah, so we changed the arb and then the bump stop, increased the front range, and then that didn't. That's when the thing started. So now we went back on the bump stop, but it still seems to be doing that. That shouldn't actually happen. It's not the arb, so. Are you like feeling it? Are you hearing the chassis scrape the ground, or is it just you getting understeer when you go over that section? Because if it's understeer, then it's just the bump stop. It's way too soft, so it's hitting it really fast.
I hear the chassis and I see it like through the, like I have my camera fixed and I see it bouncing pretty bad. Like when I go over that curb.
Yep.
I mean,
let's try. Yeah.
Just I can see the bounce, and it also feels like in the wheel as if the tires leave the ground for a bit.
Yep. Pretty sure it's the bump stop because it's very soft right now. So it's literally not doing anything. It's like the wheel is, the springs are soft, it's completely compressing and just bouncing off. The thing is maxing out the suspension. So I think stiffer rate will make it go a bit more progressively. How's the general handling of the car everywhere else?
I can tell the responsiveness was a bit compromised because it feels like on exit the front can't rotate as much anymore as the rear wants it to. And it's not bad. It's just like those little things that you notice. Like we said, it's just fine tuning.
So you're not having any issue with the rear anywhere, right?
No, not really. The rear feels pretty planted for the most part. It's just the front that's a bit on edge, especially over these curves here.
Okay.
It wasn't as bad last time, but I still felt it like bouncing a bit.
Yep.
Alright, I'll just park it on the side. So, what do we think?
I have a couple of ideas. Bump stop rate is one, and also the front fast damping could definitely help in that. But the root cause, I believe, is the bump stop. So let's first increase the front rate by, let's try something guys. Let's try 4 clicks and see how it feels with that change.
On the right.
Front bump stop rate, yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't change anything else. Let's try just the rate and see what it does.
Leave everything else as it was. Right height, wheel rate.
Yeah, everything else leave it as it was. We'll see just the rate what it does.
Okay. And yeah, just to confirm, we are raising the bump stop rate, right?
The bump stop rate, yep, on the front.
Okay.
It's like rate, range, it's all those things over there. Yeah.
All sound the same.
Yeah. Might also feel a bit more response on the front end.
Okay. feel like I can tell it's a bit more responsive immediately.
Okay. Caught off guard by the response. Or
Yeah.
a bit too responsive.
Still felt hot though, just bouncing around.
Yep.
I could, you know, I'll try taking a bit less curb. I know it's not the most optimal line, but and I might just have to sacrifice it a bit there.
No, I'm pretty sure we can still fix it. We haven't touched the damper yet.
Okay, fair, but I'm just curious to see like how it handles if I don't take as much curb.
Okay. We had to compromise a bit at Suzuka because it just required a certain type of setup for response in the first sector. So that curve at 130R can be a bit tricky.
Boing. Yep, it doesn't like bumps. Yeah, no bouncing that time obviously, but I had to sacrifice quite a bit of speed. Oh.
Is the front biting enough on entry and mid?
Yeah, I reckon it is. Okay, so it does feel more responsive than before.
But would you like more grip mid corner on the front?
I feel like mid corner on the front, it's pretty okay as it is.
Okay.
Might need. I feel like if I wanted to get more out of it, it would need to be a bit more willing to rotate on the rear. Up like that. Front does bite in pretty hard.
Okay.
I'll just hit the curve one more time. That doesn't make sense, no? No bouncing at all.
It's probably just the angle at which it's hitting it.
Could be, yeah. It could just be the angle that I was taking.
Yep. Hmm. Okay, let's do some damper changes.
Okay.
Uh, Give me a sec. Okay, let's go up on the front fast bump by 4 clicks.
Okay.
And then rear fast bump, let's go down 3 clicks.
Rear fast bump 3, okay.
Yeah, let's try that.
Feels pretty good so far.
Yeah, first lap looks promising. It looks very neutral now, like it's rotating as it should everywhere.
It might feel on turning, I feel like the fronts are scrubbing a bit much, but otherwise, yeah, it's very neutral overall.
Yep. You feel the rear is on edge right now?
I was just about to say, I don't think so.
Okay.
The rear could maybe use a bit more spice to it, you could say.
As in you would like it to rotate more?
Yeah, it feels very easygoing, like very safe, we'll put it that way.
Yeah. It's good you say that, because I actually wanted to soften the front arm. Because that'll take care of multiple issues. I'll get rid of I'll get rid of the front tire scrub, it'll fix the rear. It'll give your rear some more rotation. Again, the only thing is you're going to lose some response. So, let me just see. See, we could easily fix that as well. Have to tweak the dampers a bit. So let's try front arb, one click down.
Okay.
And front bump damping is to 2 clicks up. Slow bump.
Okay.
Yep. That's it.
Okay.
It's just a very narrow track, so it's natural that rear and mid-engine cars do well, like the Porsche and the Audi, or like just anything small.
A very narrow track with very questionable track limit.
Yeah, it's a bit, yeah, it's quite strict, so that makes the rotation a lot more important.
It does, yeah. Well, this does feel nicer. It's just a couple corners where it still feels the rear could use a bit more of a kick. Mainly, like throughout Sector 3, I feel like it's a very thin line of like getting it right, or if you maybe take it just, I don't know if I took it too hard or just a slightly different approach, the rear just didn't feel like it wanted to rotate. Like the front bit well, but then the rear just kind of didn't want to do anything, if that makes sense.
So it's more mid onwards, right? Mid corner onwards for the rear. Yep.
Especially that hairpin and maybe the last corner. I feel very prone to it.
Yep. If you're not having any traction problems, maybe we can try a higher rear wheel rate. See if it works.
Try, yeah. Like overall, it feels pretty nice. Like I am pretty happy with the progress. I'm just thinking maybe it could use a bit more rotation, like just a bit more rotation on the rear.
Yeah, let's try one click up on the rear wheel rate.
Okay.
If this makes it way too snappy, then we'll just revert to the previous wheel rate and then raise the rear ride height instead.
Okay.
The only thing with the rear ride height is it's going to affect your entry a lot more, because if it's way too high, it's just going to destabilize it. You know, I'm already getting this sense that it's maybe over-rotating a bit in Sector 1. I don't know if that's how you would like it to be, but...
No, Sector 1 feels okay, yeah. I also feel like, especially coming out of it, or the start of Sector 2 at that point already, that sharp left.
Yep.
Feels like it is on the edge. Like, I mean, it's not losing traction, but you can kind of feel the rear is like willing to kind of start stepping out, if that makes sense.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just the final sector where it feels a bit like it could use a bit more. So, hopefully it helps without compromising the rest of it. Well, the final sector definitely feels better. It's just first one might be a bit of an edge now, but it doesn't feel unmanageable.
Yeah, I think it's like if you carry too much speed in the first sector now, then it starts sliding.
Yep. Yeah, just have to be a bit more cautious on the approach.
Yep.
Overall, I'd say it feels better, but you know, like I said, just a lot more sensitive on, or well, not a lot, but it's more sensitive on how hard you can enter the corner.
Yep.
I don't think I want to go up on the right height if you say it's going to like make it a bit more on edge all around.
Yep. Actually, to a certain extent, the higher wheel rate actually gives more stability into the corner. It's only if you're carrying too much speed at when you start turning in, then it will snap.
Which
That
is
actually looked really
exactly
good.
the snap, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the time is there, it's just that little bit on edge makes it hard to trust it. I feel like it was just a little bit softer before that. It made me more comfortable to just attack a corner. Well, now I kind of have to think a bit, like how hard will I break into it?
Yep. Okay, actually, let's try this then. Let's go back to the previous wheel rate and go up on the diff instead.
Okay.
Was one click that we did, right? On the wheel rate.
Yes.
Yeah, one click down and diff 2 clicks up.
Okay.
It has potential for sure.
Yep. Feels good. I keep having a little fly flying around my head and it's very distracting.
Okay. It's probably a 0.0 in it, right?
I reckon even a 33.
Yep. Alright.
It feels really nice, and I'm sure it could also do a 33.
Okay.
I'm
Yep.
just little fly.
Yeah, so I mean, it has potential for 33.
It
So
does, definitely.
yeah, so if you want, we could like try a safe variant now, get that done, and quali as well, and then
Yes, sure. Let me
to
just
try
save
the
this.
run again later. Yeah. Yeah, I can't see anything particularly wrong with it either.
No,
But
overall, it feels really nice. It's just the only thing you kind of have to be aware of is how you enter corners. Like you just can't absolutely send it, but other than that, it's perfectly fine.
yeah,
Like
yeah, it
just
looks
drive it reasonable. That's what I'll say, and it's fine.
yeah, yeah. It's like if you overdrive it into the corner, it feels like the whole car just slides off.
Yeah, exactly.
Part of that is the higher diff, but if you don't have the high diff, it's not gonna rotate when you get on throttle in that left-hander out of sector one and also the final corner. So,
Mm-hmm. Right. That's saved. So what do we reckon would be a good compromise to make it safer?
we could try lower ride height. It worked for the other flat tracks.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah, I would say
A couple clicks to start with.
let's do 2 clicks. Yep, and then if it understeers too much, we could probably drop the front arm. But let's see what the 2 clicks first do.
Okay. didn't quite go as expected.
Looks like this is your new fast setup. Definitely looks more pleasant to drive everywhere. Yeah.
It might be a bit like understeering on faster corners, but it is easier to drive, that's for sure.
Yep. But do you still feel the other one has more potential than this?
I reckon so, yeah. I feel like it was more luck than like just the setup itself. To be fair, it didn't end up being that much faster, was it? I mean, I saw 33 on the Delta, but I'm pretty sure that could easily be done with the other one too.
Right.
Plus, I do tend to prefer a slightly safer car, so that might play a bit to my advantage.
Yeah, it's basically whichever you're more comfortable with, that would be the fast set,
I know.
and then yeah.
But I mean, even though I want a bit faster, I am missing rotation now, like on some corners.
Yep.
However, for it to call it safe setup, I feel like it's still a bit too eager on entry, especially coming off the brakes. I think not much, just a bit less bite. I reckon would be good.
Yeah, I think higher diff would solve both those issues again.
Okay.
Give you a little bit more rotation, get rid of the understeer, which you don't necessarily need to induce understeer to make it safe, but yeah, the entry, the higher diff will help. So
yeah, that makes sense.
let's try 2 clicks on the diff, 2 clicks up.
2 clicks, okay. Just the diff, yeah?
Yeah, just diff.
confidently say this feels pretty safe, especially as the tires warm up.
Yeah, definitely looks a lot more. I mean, I can see a big difference, but
it's not a massive difference. It's just I reckon Sector 1 especially, I keep being near the delta, if not even under it, is because it's a lot safer to just throw the car in and it'll like keep its traction. It does lose out then, like let's say second half of the lap where rotation's a bit more critical, but it's just safe. Like I can throw it in and I know like I can be aggressive on throttle. I can not. I mean, I don't have to worry about too much how I'm driving it because I know it'll do what I want it to do. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it looks safe.
Safe and easy.
For very
short version.
Like if you aggressively throw it into the corner, it's not going to slap the rear.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not so understeery as to completely ruin exits if you get it wrong.
Yeah, I can still see this being competitive, but like not being too hard to drive.
Yeah, it definitely looks like something I would probably like to drive, something like that. Yeah, because the previous one looks a lot faster, but it definitely looks more floaty. The setup that we finalized on is fast. Has a bit of a floaty nature to it, which might not be like, it's definitely faster, but it requires a lot of concentration to use.
Yeah, I fully agree. It just takes a bit more effort to get the time out of it, but it has that time in it. Meanwhile, this one, you're a lot more like you can be a lot more confident just throwing it in, and it'll get you like still a competitive lap time.
Yeah, this would be a 3, 2, and 5, which is a good run. So you prefer this over the you prefer this to the previous safe thing we tried, right, with the lower diff?
Yes.
Okay, because that one you did a 0.1, so you would rather take this with the 0.2, and then
I would rather take this. It feels
okay.
like, I know it wasn't a big change, but it feels a lot easier to drive.
Perfect. Yeah, it's good. It looks very nice. Obviously, if you carry too much weight in the corner, it's anyways going to understeer, but that's with any car. Yeah, I don't see any issues with it visually either. So yeah, let's take this run and this setup as safe. You want to have another go at the fast setup later on, or you want to first do quali?
I'd rather just focus on quali for now.
Okay.
I'll see what I can do with the fast one later.
Yeah, as long as you're confident you can go faster than this, you can just do the run later on. Yep. Cool. Okay, for quali, probably go back to the fast setup and I say give some more front bump stop range.
How much though? I wouldn't go up by much. Maybe
probably 2 clicks.
Yeah, okay, 2 at max. Yeah,
2 clicks, and then definitely more diff. Maybe a click up on the ride height if we need it. I wouldn't do it now yet. I wouldn't do that just yet. Let's try the range with the bump, with the differential first. The bump stop range and the differential.
How high do we move the diff?
I would say 2 clicks.
Okay.
So I think that's what worked at Suzuka and also at Indy. Notes for the Aston are always interesting.
In what sense?
In that there's see, the thing is, despite it being sensitive to setup changes, it's nothing profound enough to, you know, it's not profound physics wise. It's just something that you change in the sim and it works, because it's such small changes. So yeah, it's definitely some stuff to add, but also if there's anything driving wise, to let me know later on and you can add that in.
Yeah, we'll do. So what times are we targeting then for qualifying?
Let's have a look. Misano 33.2 for the Aston. Oh, 33.1 for the Porsche. Interesting. Kind of makes sense. So Aston's 3 tenths off in race and then about a 10th in quali. I think one of the downsides is its acceleration. It's probably not that great, right?
Could be. Oops. Seems to be like light on the rear on entry, which makes sense with no fuel in it.
Also the front range.
Did we? Wait, how
Yeah,
did we on the? Did we change
increased
the
it.
front range?
Yeah, by 2 clicks.
Ah, okay. Yeah, could possibly be that. Just on entry seems a bit too tail happy. maybe mid. I'm thinking maybe bring down the bump stop. Like
Yeah, we'll go back
front
to the
end rear
previous.
possibly. Oh, okay. Never mind. It's the
Yeah.
front.
So front. Yeah, we just dial it back 2 clicks again. But we'll keep the diff. Let's try higher rear ride height instead, and then see if that. So basically, the issue with quali is always, at least for all cars except the Porsche, is that it understeers when you remove the fuel. So yeah, let's try a click higher on the ride height, but keep the diff. Hopefully, that keeps it stable on entry. Yeah.
What was the time for the Aston? 0.2.
Yeah, 0.2 for the Aston. What are you seeing in it? I mean, obviously
I'm confident that at the very least it can match that time.
Yeah.
But I would be surprised if it can go better than that too.
Because we were a bit up on the old race time, so I'm assuming maybe a 10th up on the old quali time would be.
I think that should be
ideal.
possible.
Yep.
it has the pace in it. It's just very sensitive.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to make it a bit agile for quali, anyways. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I know.
so
Just saying.
yeah. I'd say like maybe a 10th in the first sector and a 10th in the second. Sorry, 10th in the third sector.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even the second.
I'm tempted to bring the brake bias more towards the back of it, but I'm not. I'm afraid it'll sacrifice turn in too much, like make it too slidey then.
Yeah. Could also close the ducts if you want for quali.
Could do, yeah.
Just need to check the. Because I didn't check the motive for the other run. I don't know if the temps are too low or not. Could you just check that quickly if you have it open on your end? For the race run.
I will try. 1 second.
Or if you send over the file, I'll check it. Yeah.
It's probably going to take less time, yes.
Yeah.
There we go.
Awesome. Thanks. Cool. Yeah, I mean it's fine for race. If you want to close it for quali, that would be fine. That would be all right.
So I can close them one click.
Yeah, well, one both
Okay.
sides. Yeah. Yeah.
It is a bit on edge, but well, it has the time in it. That's for sure.
Yeah, point one is still really good. Do you see any more on that, or you think is that's actually a good lap?
I think. Let me check. I'm thinking I could maybe shave a tenth more. Like, realistically. Possibly, if I would really like get that lucky lap in, it might even be a 32, but I won't push my luck.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to like. I don't think we need to really sweat it for extra time. But if the car feels good, and I mean, this is still a good lap. It's a good representative time. Since the lap looks clean, we can still take this as well. Wouldn't spend too much time trying to shave another tenth.
Yep,
Uh,
fair.
yeah.
Also, I like how
Yep.
the two qualifying laps just now, the sector 2 was identical.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. That's always some lap that you get.
I seem to have a
Really.
talent for getting
Yeah.
being very consistent sometimes.
Yeah. 20.20. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good. I would suggest we take that. We can save that because the lap time is good and it's
Okay.
the setup is fine, right? That's what's more
Yeah,
important is that
it's fine. It feels good. Again, same thing
has
as with
potential.
both the fast and safe. Like, just don't overdrive it, and it'll be perfectly fine.
Yep. And we can save this for now. If you want to try another lap later, that's also fine. But it's always good to have this as a backup and keep it. So that, and we want to try another, have like another go at that fast run, just to test it. Or would you like to do that later? Because the setup is anyways finalized.
I think ideally later,
Cool.
just to get some get some food, rest up a bit, and see if it's the setup or it's just me.
Yeah, I mean that looked pretty rapid to the faster. It's just seems to be a setup which has pace but needs very precise inputs and cannot be overdriven. But that's kind of the nature of a fast setup, anyways. It's accuracy over compromise. So yeah, rather accuracy over overdriving.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I think on that note, yeah, we've got all three setups. Thank you everybody for joining us for this session. We hope you found this insightful. It definitely proved to be a little more tricky than I expected. What do you say, Luca?
No, I agree. It wasn't quite as much of a breeze as I was hoping, but still, overall, I'm happy with what we finished up on.
Yeah, setups look. The car looks really good. Looks like it has quite a lot of pace. Maybe not quite as much as the other cars, but it's still definitely looks like a solid choice. But on that note, we hope you all enjoyed this session. If you're interested in downloading this setup or any of the other setups for the other cars, do check out the different purchasing and subscription models that we have on the Coach Dave Academy website. With the subscription, you will get early access to this Aston Martin setup and many more, a few more that will be released. And as you watch this, you will be getting access to the entire bundle also soon. But yeah, if you're interested in that, do check out the website and follow Discord for any updates on future setups. On that note, thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll catch up with you next time.